The building does not look like anywhere a prince should be. That is perhaps the point. The London Ambulance Service's virtual reality training hub occupies what used to be a railway arch on Leek Street, Waterloo, the kind of South London street that smells permanently of last night's rain and someone else's diesel, where the walls are thick with graffiti that the council stopped pretending to paint over sometime around 2019. The arch itself has been converted with the particular aesthetic of institutions that have spent their entire renovation budget on the thing inside and nothing whatsoever on the thing outside. There is a hand-lettered sign. There is a doorbell that does not appear to work. There are 2 Metropolitan Police vehicles parked at angles that suggest urgency, or at minimum, strong feelings about parking. It is 8:47 on a Tuesday morning in March. William arrives, not in the motorcade configuration you might expect, but in 2 vehicles low profile, the kind of arrival that the palace has learned to choreograph as its own species of statement. No fanfare, no barriers lining the street. A small cluster of LAS staff in green uniforms stand outside the arch doing the thing people do when they have been told not to look like they are waiting, but are very much waiting, checking phones, studying the middle distance, finding sudden intense interest in a patch of pavement. He steps out. He is taller than the door frame wants him to be, which he navigates with the automatic grace of a man who has been taller than door frames his entire life, and has simply factored this in, the way other people factor in rain. There are handshakes. There is the LAS chief executive, Sarah Bowden, whose smile has the particular quality of someone who has rehearsed it, and then on seeing him in person, found she doesn't need the rehearsal. There is the director of training, a compact Scotsman named Alistair Grieve who shakes hands like he means it as a structural test. There is Marcus. Marcus Holt is the NHS communications liaison assigned to this visit, and he has prepared for this morning, the way a siege engineer prepares for a siege, thoroughly, anxiously, with contingency plans for his contingency plans. He is holding a clipboard. The clipboard has a laminated sheet on it. The laminated sheet has a timeline broken into 15-minute increments. Marcus is 31 years old and has the face of a man who aged 12 years in the last 48 hours. He is also, we will come to understand, entirely powerless. But that comes later. For now, the building, the arch, the rain smell, the green uniforms. For now, the context that nobody in this car park needs explained, but that everyone in this country perhaps does. The London Ambulance Service has lost 340 paramedics in the last 18 months, not to death, to something that kills careers the way prolonged water kills stone, slowly, invisibly, and then all at once. Burnout, PTSD. Resignations filed on Tuesday afternoons by people who came to work wanting to save lives and discovered that the system had other plans for them. 340. A number that the LAS Director of Workforce, in a parliamentary committee hearing last November, described as unsustainable, and then paused and looked at the ceiling and said it again, differently, like the word had changed meaning between the first time and the second. This training hub is the answer, or it is the attempt at an answer, or it is the thing the LAS built while it tried to figure out what the answer was. A VR simulation suite designed to put paramedics inside high-stress, multi-casualty environments before those environments are real, before the consequences are permanent, before the nervous system has stored the memory as damage rather than data. William has been patron of mental health initiatives for 11 years. He has visited crisis centers and talked to veterans and sat in rooms where the air was thick with the weight of things people were trying to learn to carry. He knows, structurally, what this place is. What nobody is quite certain of, including one suspect, William himself, is whether knowing it structurally is the same as knowing it. Today is the attempt to find out. Marcus ticks the first item on his laminated sheet. They go inside. The interior of the arch is larger than it has any right to be. The The ceiling follows the curve of the Victorian brickwork above, which gives the space the feeling of a cathedral that decided mid-construction it would rather be practical. Along the left wall, a bank of monitors showing static simulation environments, a motorway pileup frozen mid-chaos, a tube platform evacuation caught at the precise moment before everything gets worse. Along the right wall, 8 VR stations, each with its headset on its mount and its haptic gloves on their hook, waiting with the particular patience of expensive equipment that has been specifically placed for a visit, and arranged to look like it hasn't been specifically placed for a visit. In the center of the room, 12 trainee paramedics stand in 2 rows. They are trying to look natural. They are not succeeding. They have the posture of people who have been told that a prince is coming and have spent the intervening period attempting to decide what to do with their hands. Marcus steps forward. He has, it must be said, a very fine pre-brief. It has been refined through 3 drafts and 2 senior sign-offs, and 1 late-night call with someone at the palace whose role Marcus has been asked not to specify. It covers the approved sequence of events, the 2 questions William will ask, which have been pre-agreed and are written on a small card in Marcus's left jacket pocket, the equipment he may touch and the equipment he is encouraged to observe rather than handle, and the media protocols, which include 1 pool photographer operating under a strict list of what may and may not be captured. The pre-brief takes 6 minutes. William listens with the attention of a man who has sat through 6,000 pre-briefs and has learned to hear the shape of what he is being managed away from. And following the demonstration, Marcus concludes, there will be an opportunity for some brief remarks to the cohort, which we've kept to approximately. I want to try it, William says. Marcus's pen moves to the next item on his clipboard, then stops. The headset, William says. I want to go through the simulation myself. There is a pause in the room. It is brief. It is extremely loud. Alistair Grieve, the training director, does not pause at all. He says, good, with the energy of a man who has been hopping for this exact development and has been professionally prohibited from suggesting it. Sarah Bowden looks at Marcus. Marcus looks at his laminated sheet. His laminated sheet has nothing to say about this. That can certainly be, Marcus begins. Great, says William, walk me through it. The machine, which has been running perfectly, makes a sound like a gear that has been asked to do something the gear was not designed to do. It is not an unpleasant sound, but it is unmistakable. The trainee assigned to run the induction is named Joel Adami, 26, Lewisham born, 14 months into his paramedic training. The kind of calm that reads as laziness until you watch him work and realize it is the opposite of laziness. It is the calm of someone who has decided in advance not to waste energy on panic and has stuck to that decision. Joel has explained the VR headset 112 times. He has explained it to trainees, to visitors, to a journalist from the Evening Standard who kept calling it the goggles, to 2 NHS trust directors who listened with the focused blankness of people converting what they were seeing into a budget line. He has explained it well every time. He explains it now. It sits here, Joel says, indicating the foam padding along the brow line. You want it snug but not tight. The field of view goes about 110 degrees, so don't try to look at what's behind you, turn your whole body. And the haptic feedback in the gloves. William picks up the headset. He puts it on. It does not fit. This is not a complaint. This is a structural observation. The headset has been calibrated for a head circumference, that is, it becomes rapidly apparent not the head circumference present. The foam padding sits slightly high. The display sits slightly low. William adjusts it. He adjusts it again. Joel reaches up to help and then makes the micro-decision, a visible, honest micro-decision that happens entirely in his face, to let the prince sort it himself. William adjusts it a 3rd time. The Royal Protection Officer, a large man named, per the official rota, D.S. Colin Marsh, who has spent the morning stationed near the door with the expression of someone paid to look as though nothing is surprising him, looks at Marcus. Marcus looks at the ceiling. The ceiling has nothing to offer. A fourth adjustment. From the back of the room, a trainee named Donna Fletcher, 34, dark braid, a set to her jaw that suggests opinions held at operational pressure, is watching this with the full attention of someone who has decided that covering her mouth with her hand is the best available option. Beside her, a trainee named Priya Sharma leans approximately 4 millimeters in Donna's direction without otherwise moving. This is, among paramedic trainees who have been told to look professional during a royal visit, the equivalent of full hysteria. "There's a release on the left side," Joel says finally, gently, with complete dignity. "Just under, yeah, that one." William finds it. The headset settles. "Right," says William. And then, with the self-possession of a man who has just spent 90 seconds wrestling with foam padding in front of 12 strangers and a pool photographer, and chooses not to perform embarrassment about it. "Let's go." Marcus writes nothing on his clipboard. There is nothing to write. He is no longer running a timeline. He is, without quite having been told so, a witness. The scenario is called, in the LAS training documentation, Exercise Southwark Bridge, though everyone in this room calls it Borough Market, which is what it is. A Saturday afternoon, 12:53 p.m., a vehicle has mounted the pavement on Borough High Street at speed. There are 31 simulated casualties distributed across 400 meters of crowded urban space. The trainee's job, William's job now, is to arrive as the lead paramedic on scene, conduct a primary survey, establish triage categories, call resources, and make the decisions that in a real incident would determine with genuine mathematical precision who lives and who does not. The simulation begins. On the monitor that the room can see, mirroring what William sees inside the headset, Borough Market materializes. Saturday crowds. The smell of the real thing would be coffee and bread and something grilling. The simulation has no smell function. What it has is the visual density of chaos managed with precise, horrible craft. Bodies at irregular intervals, some moving, some not. A woman sitting against a wall holding her arm with the focused concentration of someone who has decided that if she focuses on her arm, she does not have to look at anything else. William walks forward. He is, it should be said, not good at this. This is not an insult. No one is good at this the first time. The entire design philosophy of the simulation rests on the understanding that the first time is for being bad, and the learning is in the badness, and the repetition is what builds the competence that might someday, in a real Borough Market on a real Saturday, translate into a real life saved. The trainees in this room have run this scenario an average of 11 times each. They were bad at it too. But they were bad at it privately. William is bad at it in front of 12 of them, a pool photographer, a Guardian journalist, an NHS comms handler with a laminated sheet, and 2 senior ambulance service executives who are doing an admirable job of having no expression. He goes to the wrong casualty first, an instinct thing, a human thing, drawn to the one who is loudest rather than the one whose silence is the emergency. Joel, running the scenario from the operator's station, notes this without comment. William's haptic glove passes through a simulated patient. He adjusts. He finds the rhythm, or the beginning of the rhythm, or the shape of where the rhythm might eventually live. And then he stops. In the middle of the simulation, at the 40-second mark, which is, per the training data, the point at which the most consequential triage decisions cluster, he stops walking. "Who decides?" he says, out loud into the headset into the room, which one you leave. He is not asking Joel. He is not asking Marcus. He is not asking anyone in particular. The room is quiet. Alistair Grieve is very still. who teaches you, William says, to make that call and then go home. There is a version of this moment that gets managed. Marcus's clipboard is right there. There are approved questions on a card in his left jacket pocket, and they are good questions, sensible questions, questions that open dialogue and generate quotable responses and land neatly in a press release. There is infrastructure for this moment. Nobody uses it. Joel at the operator's station reaches forward and pauses the simulation. Borough Market freezes. 31 casualties mid-state. The woman holding her arm, the stillness that is not sleep. That, says Alistair Grieve from behind William quietly, is exactly the right question. And then Donna Fletcher from the back of the room says, "Can I show him?" Donna Fletcher has been a paramedic trainee for 8 months. Before that, she was a paramedic for 6 years. The distinction matters. She left the job, not the profession, but the job, the specific one with the specific trust, in the specific borough where she had worked through 2 years of pandemic and 1 winter that she will not, she has said to colleagues, describe in detail, and spent 4 months in a state she characterizes as not right. Not a clinical term, her term. She went back to training because the training director at the LAS, one Alistair Grieve, called her personally and told her about the simulation suite and said, specifically, that what they were building was for people like her. She ran Borough Market for the first time 11 weeks ago. She cried in her car afterwards for 20 minutes. She ran it again the next morning. She ran it 6 more times before she stopped going to her car. She is the best person in this room to answer William's question. She is also not on Marcus's laminated sheet anywhere. She walks to the VR station. William is still in the headset, which he has not removed, which means he turns toward her voice with the slight disorientation of someone locating sound without the visual reference they expect. She takes this in without comment. She picks up the haptic gloves. "The simulation doesn't teach you who to lead," she says. "That's not what it's for. She is not performing this. She is not performing anything. She is a person who has had this conversation with herself approximately 100 times and has finally arrived at a version she can say out loud. What it does is, it gives the decision somewhere to live, in your body, before it's real. So when it is real, it's not the first time your hands have done it." William takes the headset off. He does not do this with ceremony. He does it the way you take something off when you need to actually look at the person speaking. "And does that work," he says, "actually work?" Donna considers this with the seriousness it deserves. "I came in to hand my notice in," she says, "last month, February 14th, which is, Valentine's Day, I know, and Alistair asked me to run the scenario one more time first." She pauses, not for effect, because the next part is still being processed even now. "I don't know if it worked. I know I didn't hand my notice in." The room is not pretending to do anything else. Marcus's pen is in his hand. It has not moved in 4 minutes. This is, in the context of Marcus's relationship with his clipboard, a geological event. Sarah Bowden, the chief executive, is looking at the floor with the expression of someone who built a thing and is watching it do what she hoped it would do, and finding that hope, realized, is somehow more overwhelming than hope deferred. William looks at Donna for a moment. The look is not the look of a royal engagement, not the practiced, compassionate, appropriately bounded engagement look that he has worn in 1,000 rooms, and that serves its function and means something without being the whole thing. It is something prior to that. The look of a person doing arithmetic. "February 14th, he says. "Valentine's Day," she says again. "My husband thought it was a metaphor. It wasn't. That was the day I got there. A beat. To the edge of it." She does not name what she was at the edge of. She doesn't need to. The room names it for her in its silence. This is not in the schedule. This is not a managed revelation or a pre-approved emotional disclosure. This is a paramedic in a converted railway arch in Waterloo telling a prince the true thing, and the prince receiving it without the apparatus of a public figure, and the gap between those two facts being, for the duration of this moment, somehow closed. Marcus puts his clipboard down. This is the first time today he has put his clipboard down. It is a small thing. It is not a small thing. Someone finds a folding chair. It is gray, slightly unsteady on one leg, the kind of chair that has been to 100 training days and carries the particular exhaustion of practical furniture. William sits in it next to Donna's equipment station without anyone suggesting he might prefer a different chair, which he wouldn't, which he makes clear by just sitting. The pool photographer is at the far end of the room. He has been briefed on distance. He stays at distance. He takes 3 frames and then, by some professional instinct or decency, lowers his camera. What happens next is 19 minutes. That is all that can be reported because the room empties not formally, not by instruction, but by the collective understanding of 12 trainee paramedics, 2 executives, 1 training director, and 1 NHS communications liaison that something is happening that does not need an audience. They drift toward the far end of the arch. Someone makes tea. Joel recues the simulation on the monitor, not to show anyone, just to have something to do with his hands. 19 minutes. There is no transcript. There are no approved remarks. The pool photographer has the 3 frames, none of which show faces clearly, all of which are, by any honest appraisal, more revealing than 1,000 carefully staged photographs. A prince on an unsteady chair, leaning forward with his forearms on his knees, and a woman in a green uniform who has stopped holding herself at professional distance and is talking to him the way people talk when they have decided, at some point in the previous 30 minutes, that the person across from them is capable of receiving the real version. We know the duration because Alistair Grieve checks his watch when it ends and tells his deputy later. 19 minutes. Marcus does not time it. He has stopped timing things. When William stands, he shakes Donna's hand. Then, a beat after the handshake, a beat that is either instinctive or decided, and it doesn't matter which. He says something to her privately, quietly in the gap between the handshake ending and his hand dropping. She nods. Her jaw does the thing it does when she is holding herself level. She nods again, differently. She will not repeat what was said. She will say only, later in the car park in the rain, to a Guardian journalist who asks. He'd done the math on it before. That's all. He already knew what it cost. She does not elaborate. The not elaborating is the elaboration. Phase 7, the debrief and verdict. The full training cohort assembles in the main space, not in the 2 formal rows of the earlier arrangement, but in the loose cluster of people who have stopped performing attendance and are just present. There are 16 of them now, because word has moved through the building, the way word moves through institutions when something true is happening, and 4 additional staff have found reasons to be in the vicinity of the arch. Marcus has his clipboard. He does not consult it. William stands at the front of the room with no prepared remarks, which his team will note later was not the agreed format, and which nobody in the room will subsequently wish had gone differently. He talks for 7 minutes. He talks about the research his foundation has done on emergency responder mental health, and he references it not as a patron citing his own program, but as someone who read the figures at 2 in the morning and found them difficult to put down. He says, and this is the thing that the room will carry, the sentence that will be repeated in the LAS WhatsApp groups that evening, and the staff briefings the following week. You have all decided that the suffering of strangers is worth your own. I am not sure we have decided, as a country, whether your suffering is worth ours. 12 of the 16 people in the room are paramedics or paramedic trainees. Every one of them has heard the resource conversation. Every one of them knows the funding figures, the retention data, the 340. Every one of them has had, in some form, the February 14th moment. None of them have heard it put like that before. Joel Adami, at the back of the room, looks at the middle distance with the focused expression of someone making sure nothing shows. Priya Sharma, next to him, is not looking at the middle distance. She is looking at the floor with the concentration of someone who has decided that the floor is the correct thing to look at right now, and that this decision must be maintained. William thanks them. He thanks them without the formal scaffolding of patronage, without the language of institutional appreciation that means everything and lands like nothing. He thanks them the way you thank people when you have just spent 19 minutes understanding more precisely what it is they actually do. He thanks Donna last, by name. She is standing to the left of the equipment wall with her arms crossed, not in hostility, in the way she always stands, her default architecture, the structure she builds around herself when she is in public, and when he says her name, she uncrosses them. It is a small thing. It is not a small thing. Outside on Leek Street, the rain has resumed with the commitment of South London rain that never quite stopped, just briefly reconsidered. 2 paramedics are standing on the pavement in their civvies, off duty, both of them, both based out of the Waterloo Station 4 streets north. They heard about the visit on the LAS WhatsApp group at 7:15 this morning. They are not here officially. They are not here unofficially. They are here in the way that people are sometimes simply where something true is happening, drawn by the frequency of it. One of them, a man named Terry Okafor, 16 years on the ambulance, the kind of face that has absorbed 16 years of what the job gives you and organized it into something that is not quite peace, but is adjacent to it, is asked whether he expected much from the visit. He thinks about this with the seriousness the question deserves. Expected, he says, no, you don't expect much from these things. He is not bitter when he says this. He is accurate, there is a difference, but you show up because someone should. He looks at the arch. A few minutes ago he watched, through the open door, at the edge of his permitted distance, what happened in the room. He watched the folding chair. He watched the 19 minutes from 100 feet away without being able to hear a word of it. Did it matter? He says, repeating the question back, which is what he does when he is deciding something. I don't know yet. Ask me in 6 months. Ask me if the funding changed. Ask me if the retention numbers moved. He pauses. But I'll tell you what, he stayed in the room. He didn't manage it. He stayed in the room and he asked the real question, and then he sat on a terrible chair and he listened. A beat. In this job, you understand how rare that is, just staying in the room. His colleague, whose name she prefers not to give, says nothing for a moment. Then, 340, that's how many we lost. She says it the way you say a number that has stopped being a number and become a different kind of thing. He knows that number. You could tell. She pulls her jacket collar up against the rain. Whether knowing it changes anything, she says. That's the question, isn't it? It is not a question. It is the question. Donna Fletcher leaves the building at 11:23, 40 minutes after the vehicles have gone. She has her kit bag over one shoulder and her lanyard twisted around her hand the way she always carries it, the habit of someone who has learned to keep their hands occupied. The Guardian journalist, sheltering inadequately under the arch entrance, asks her what she will remember from today. She stops, she considers. He asked who teaches you to make the call, she says, and then he sat down and he let me answer. She adjusts the strap of her kit bag. Nobody's asked me that. The whole time I've been doing this job, all the reviews and the check-ins and the welfare calls, nobody asked me that specific thing. She looks up the street, at nothing particular, at the rain and the graffiti and the ordinary Tuesday architecture of South London. I don't know what he'll do with it. I don't know if it does anything politically or structurally, or, she stops, starts again differently. I know it was real. Whatever happened in there, it was real. She walks away. The rain fills the silence, she leaves. Inside the arch, Marcus Holt picks up his clipboard from where he left it 41 minutes ago on the edge of a VR station. The laminated timeline still has 6 items unticked. He looks at it for a moment. He rolls it up. He puts it in his bag. He does not put it back on the clipboard.